Okay, let's look at how we would use the double angle identities. Now remember, we've got sine 2x is equal to 2 sine x cosine x, and cosine 2x is equal to cosine squared x minus sine squared x. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to calculate, if we're given that sine x is 2/5 and x is in quadrant 2, and we want to find sine 2x, cosine 2x, and tangent 2x. Now, the idea is the fact that x is in quadrant 2 helps us to know what the whether or not cosine is going to be positive or negative. So I need to figure out what cosine is, and then I can determine if it's positive or negative. So let's get the ratio first. So we've got, I'll just draw a triangle. Let's say this is x, and this is 2 opposite over hypotenuse. And then down here, this is going to be the square root of 25 minus 4. That's a square root of 21. So I just used Pythagorean theorem to get this. This squared plus this squared needs to equal that squared. So using Pythagorean theorem. Now that tells us that cosine x, now remember we need cosine because it's part of this formula. See? Sine 2x is 2 sine x cosine x, so I need cosine x. So here I go. This is going to be the square root of 21 over 5. Now, remember we're in quadrant 2 here. That's where I use this part because I know that that's got to be negative. We use this to determine if cosine is positive or negative. And in this case, it's negative. If we were in quadrant 3, between pi and 3 pi over 2, it would be negative. Cosine is positive in quadrants 1 and 4. So now we're ready to go. We've got sine 2x is equal to 2 times 2/5 times negative square root of 21 over 5. And then we can just work that out. That's negative 4 square roots of 21 over 25. There we have it. Then we can do cosine. Cosine 2x is equal to cosine squared, so that's negative square root of 21 over 5 squared minus 2/5 squared. Okay, so let's see here. That's 21 25ths minus 4 25ths. And I believe that will be 17 25ths. Yeah, there we have it. Now I want to find tangent. Now I didn't give you a formula for tangent. I just gave you sine and cosine. However, you know that tangent is sine 2x over cosine 2x. So let's see what that's going to be. That's going to be negative 4 square roots of 21 over 25 divided by 17 over 25. Now we want to simplify this, and what I do is I just multiply by this denominator, the extra denominator here. So they cancel, and I get negative 4 square roots of 21 over 17. There we have it. So we've got sine, cosine, and tangent. Now let's see how we would find the half angles. In other words, I'm going to take this same setup here, and this time I want to find sine 1/2 x, cosine 1/2 x, and tangent 1/2 x. Okay, now remember the half angle. Oh, you couldn't see it. So remember the half angle formulas go like this. Sine 1/2 x equals plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine x over 2. And the cosine 1/2 x is plus or minus 1 plus cosine. Oh, got to remember to push my paper up so you can see it. Okay. And then tangent is just sine over cosine. But so the question now is, well, how do we deal with these pluses? Is it plus or minus? Well, you got to remember that x is given to us as being in quadrant 2. See? They gave us that at the very beginning. So the question is, well, where is 1/2 x? Well, let me just divide through by 2. And I get that x over 2 is less than pi over 2. See, just dividing through by 2, less than pi over 4. So it looks like x over 2 is in quadrant 1. See? So that being the case, that tells us that everything is positive. So I'm going to use the positive one. And then this is easy now. We've got sine 1/2 x equals the square root of 1 minus, now remember what cosine was. Cosine is negative square root of 21 over 5. All over 2. Okay, now there it is. Now I want to simplify it a little bit. Let me just multiply through by 5. So I'm going to get this. I'm going to get 5 plus the square root of 21 over 10. Yeah, that's it. See, the two negatives made a positive, and then I multiplied by 5, 5, and 5. Now let's look at the cosine. That's going to be 1 plus the negative square root of 21 over 5. You got to watch your signs. You know, it's easy to mess up, make a sign error. So 1 plus the cosine, and the cosine is negative. So this is going to be 5 minus the square root of 21 over 10. Now, if we do the tangent, well, that's just sine over cosine. So we put sine, and let me do it this. Well, let me see here. I've got 5 plus the square root of 21 all over 10, and then the cosine is 5 minus the square root of 21 over 10. And notice that these 10s are, you know, I could multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 10. And what you would get is you would get that this thing reduces to 5 square roots of 21 over 5 minus the square root of 21. And there you have your half angle formulas.